Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sanya. Good morning. कैसे हैं आप? How are you?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Yes, I'm perfectly fine. So people are joining from YouTube.
Okay.
I should start from here
Okay.
because people are joining in YouTube.
Do you
Okay.
want me to share the screen?
Not right now. We will just give me a minute. Okay. So my team, can we just go live? Someone? Okay, do it. We can just second. Okay, so guys, good morning and happy Sunday. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for joining for this 90 minutes exclusive webinar on nutritionism and weight loss. So today's webinar, as you can see, as you can understand by the name, we have the tagline of today, the theme of today, how the industry revolves around that. Okay, and this is like recently we have come up with what we say many topics in nutrition and dietetics, and we were discussing like how to go ahead, how to start with that. So we thought like this is one of the wonderful topic to start with, right? Nutrition and weight loss. And in that, so Miss Saranya, who is our today's guest and today's speaker and resource person, she just told me like not to just include the weight loss, but we should include how these people, how this industry, they just are what we say, telling people how they're marketing themselves. Okay, and then she gave me some questions like these questions could be resolved in this webinar. We'll be talking around these topics like how do they restrict your diet and food intake, what are the exact correct ways for losing the weight, and how does these keto and fasting helping these help in the losing your weight. Okay, and there are many more things what you are going to do or what you're going to learn from her in last 1.5 hour, in last in next 1.5 hour and 90 minutes. So let me take this privilege to introduce her. She is double masters in sports science from ISST Pune. She is masters in therapeutics, dietetics, and applied nutrition from Mahe Manipal, and she is certified in bariatric nutrition from SBT Mumbai and diabetic educator. So let me hand over mic to Ms. Saranya. Ms. Saranya, thank you very much for joining us as resource person, and thank you very much for choosing the topics and this topic and to talk over this topic. Thank you very much, everyone, and over to you, Ms. Saranya. You can now start sharing your screen and you can start the session. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Ajit. I mean, I've known you for like 3-4 years now, and I think you're really doing a good job. And thank you for having me here. So I think without much delay, I will just share my screen. So just let me know once the, presentation is visible.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Presentation is opening. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
So yeah, nutritionism and weight loss, I think the everyone who comes to me, everybody, most of them, at least 9 out of 10 people want to lose weight. So, but the biggest problem these days, we don't know who is authentic and who is not, especially in the industry that we are in. So, without starting, without much delay. So these are just, some of the things. I think even during COVID, this bulletproof coffee, for example, was very famous. Everybody was drinking some Dalgona coffee, bulletproof coffee. Everybody wanted to lose weight. They wanted to stay fit, especially during COVID, because there was no gym, there was no, exercise or anything. So these things, whether is it really helpful or is it just a fad that we call in terms of, the nutrition language is very important. And there is no harm in trying to lose weight or trying to look good, because all of us at the end of the day, we want to look good. We want to look younger than our age. So let's see what exactly is nutritionism. So just a few questions for the people out there who are watching this. So have you heard of this dopamine fasting followed by the Bay Area folks? So this was one of the trend that was, very ongoing during the COVID time. Do you want to have a heart of 30 at the age of 75? I think yes, that's a yes from all of us. Do you really need gadgets for that? So because I see a lot of them having fitness gadgets. I mean, we have like how we have a water reminder, we have our steps reminder. Most of us try to clock in these 10,000 steps, 15,000 steps. We have a heart rate reminder. So do you really need gadgets for that? Have you hacked your mind or body? That's the question that I want to answer before even I talk about what is nutritionism. Are we all hacked in some way? Like how we have a computer hacking, how we have like a Google Pay, which is getting hacked. So are we trying to hack our mind or body is the question that you guys must be able to answer at the end of this session. And this was an interesting fact that I came across recently, that the Twitter CEO was promoting the benefits of intermittent fasting and drinking salt juice every morning. So how many of you knew about this, and what do you think are your views on this consumption of salt juice? I think Dr. Ajit, you'll be able to appreciate it better from even a cardiology point of view. What are the pros and cons of this? So these are just the questions that I hope you should be able to answer by the end of this session. I hope I do justice to these set of things. So these are just the starters. So then going on, so then comes what is health, because keeping weight loss aside, keeping nutritionism as a term aside, everybody of us, we all want to be healthy. So whether you go to a doctor, whether you go to a dietitian or a nutritionist, everybody wants to first be healthy. So healthy, again, it is very subjective. So in some context that we speak, we say that, oh, wo thoda zyada healthy hai. Matlab, there we are trying to say that the person is a little chubbier and a little fatter. And then in some context, when the doctor says that you need to get little more healthy, then it means that he's asking you to lose weight. So it's so, confusing whether you're this healthy or this health. Are they talking about losing weight or are they talking about gaining weight? Exactly, none of us are able to decode. When you talk about the definition of simple health, when you look up the dictionary or when you look up the internet, the simple definition of health is about the physical, mental, and social well-being. That's the, I think, basic 8 standard definition that all of us have. So whether it's the physical health, I think most of us are doing with the help of gadgets, with the help of, gym, aerobics, yoga, whatever suits us. Mental health, I think now there is a lot of, this gaga going about mental health. We have psychologists, psychiatrists talking about it. So all of us are aware of the mental health, at least in the urban population, in the urban, people. Social health, we all have this concept, of at least maybe if not eating together, at least, but we have this concept of socializing. So, whether it's over a coffee or whether it's over a tea or maybe going out on a Saturday night. So to some extent, this socializing pattern is happening, but are we really having that peaceful environment where we are sitting and eating without gadgets? Or are we really having that concept of family meals even today? Yes, in the villages, yes, they have a time by 8 or 7:30, they all come down, they all sit together and eat. But in a city like Bangalore or Mumbai or Delhi, I don't think that happens, because we are all living a very busy life. So we don't really have the time to first of all cook and then sit and then sit and then eat very peacefully. So this is the kind of social health that we are missing out on. But in general, whatever somebody is talking about, whether it's physical, whether it's mental or social, what exactly does health mean? Health means being metabolically active. So active, just being physically active by doing yoga, aerobics, or just doing any one of these 3 things will not help you. Metabolically active is when a person has normal thyroid levels, when a person has normal lipid parameters, that's your cholesterol, triglycerides, and LDL, HDL. When a person is having normal blood sugars, you're fasting, A1C, postprandial. When a lady is not really having a very painful period, they don't really have to take hormonal tablets to induce a period. When you don't have hair fall, when you don't have to apply a lot of creams and external agents to make your skin look healthy or glowing, that is health. So being metabolically active, so what you do physically, mentally, socially, they are just the superficial things, but what we are really missing out on is health, especially the metabolic health. We are also busy losing weight, we are also busy trying to fit into some old pair of clothes that we have, that we just want to lose weight, whether it's 10 kgs, 15 kgs, 5 kgs in maybe 1 or 2 months. So we don't really focus on health. So the first definition that all of us should get right is, in order to be fit, or in order to look young, in order to look beautiful, first you need to be healthy. And as a byproduct, weight loss will happen. So this is the first thing that all of us should get right in our minds. So then comes nutritionism and what to eat. Because whenever I tell people about health, okay, so they say that, yeah, we understand. We first have to look at the metabolic health. And so now tell me what to eat. That's the biggest question. So what to eat, how much to eat, at what time to eat. So these are all the, the next followed questions that I get very often. So what to eat is simple, the fresh homemade food. Okay, so you don't have to do something sophisticated. You don't have to go crazy about inventing new things or discovering new recipes for yourself. Simple things, wherever you are, whichever region you are, whichever cuisine that you're following, whichever is your traditional cuisine, if you're from the north, if you're from the west, if you're from the east. So simple homemade food at least twice a day. So maybe because of the lifestyle that we have, maybe because of the kind of work that we do, maybe it's not possible for us to cook all the 3 times a day and have the fresh made food for all the 3 times, but at least 2 times a day, try to prioritize that nutritional discipline in yourself and try to have a fresh homemade meal. So that means I don't want you to start using ovens more often. That means that I don't want you to use more of packaged foods, canned foods, processed foods. Having said that, one odd day, once in 10 days, once in 15 days, if you're having that, it's still okay. But there is a concept of where there is a lot of heating and reheating that comes in. That is not advisable. So these are some of the things which can be homemade. So like curd, buttermilk, pickle, ghee, all of these things. So then the next important thing is anything that does not have an English equivalent. So we are so used to Google, we are so used to, looking up the internet for everything, that anything that somebody says, the first thing that we do is we go and look up on Google for whatever it's called in your local language. Whatever it was, what is it called in Hindi, what is it called in Kannada, in Malayalam, Marathi, whatever. So everything that you eat or everything that you see or everything that you grow in your local cuisine need not have an English equivalent. So that's very, very important for us to understand. So something in Bangalore, something in the Western Ghats may not be even available, in the North Karnataka. So in one state itself, when there is so much of difference, like, in Karnataka, for example, the Northern Karnataka cuisine is different from the Southern Karnataka cuisine. So you cannot compare the cuisine of Karnataka to Maharashtra, to Delhi, to Kashmir. So in India, every 100 miles, there is a change in the spice that they use, the change in the tarka that they add, the change in the, ingredients that they use. So in that case, having one size fits all is not a possibility. So be rest assured, or don't worry when you eat something which does not have an English equivalent, right? So some of the examples for that, or your, Vandelga sopu, it's just a green leafy which is grown here. And then you have puttu. I think puttu, most of them from the Kerala will be able to appreciate it. Then you have kadhi, then you have zar. Zar is a Assamese dish. So yeah, you cannot, if you look up for all these things, probably you'll not even get a recipe on the YouTube. And then comes the third one, the very important one, a normal meal. So a normal, why I have highlighted that normal is because the concept, or the, the comprehension of normalcy is very different in different people. So a balanced meal, everybody talks about a balanced meal. So what is a balanced meal? None of us know. So we always keep telling everyone, have a balanced diet, have a balanced meal. So what exactly is this balance? That itself is very subjective. So balanced is something where you're not cutting down on any of the food groups, right? So that is where this whole thing of nutritionism comes in. So nutritionism is not like per se a term, just like how you have racism, you also have nutritionism in the food industry. So for all of you, just to let you know the fact, so initially when this whole concept of nutritionism started, even without this being called nutritionism, initially people were asked not to eat rice or not to eat carbs. So that is when, people all, left rice and left rotis, and they all switched to quinoa and millets and everything, like every possible millet, like foxtail millet and ragi and all of that. And after a few years, then again the trend changed where they said fats are bad. So everybody who was using mustard oil or coconut oil suddenly switched to something like olive oil. So that is where the fat was the enemy. So everybody said, oh, fats are really bad. So remove ghee, remove butter, remove everything and only consume olive oil. So that was where the fat was the enemy, or the outcasted one. And then came a trend where they said proteins are bad. That is the recent trend where you see people turning vegan, where they're not eating chicken, fish, eggs, even milk and milk products. And that was, I think, till 2 years, 3 years back, even celebrities, cricketers turning vegan, promoting veganism. So that was again a trend. And now the current trend is where people are asking you not to eat at all. So you see these random numbers of fasting, like 18 hours, 24 hours, 12 hours. So when you really look at the trend, first you're targeting a carbohydrate, then you're targeting a fat, then you're targeting a protein, and now you're finally telling people not to eat at all. So this is nutritionism, like how you target a particular nutrient in every, maybe one span, right? So this, like how we don't like when somebody is addressed as, that tall girl or the fat girl or the dark girl or the dusky girl. I think even food should not be subjected to this kind of racism or nutritionism where one particular nutrient is getting targeted once in, probably 2-3 years. So what happens with this is, yes, maybe when carb is out, or when protein is out, when fat is out, yes, maybe there is some change that is coming into your diet, but the biggest problem is you are ending up having a micronutrient deficiency, for which you automatically end up consuming supplements or maybe some powders or some pills. So feeling cranky, having mood swings, having hair loss, having a dull skin, looking pale, all becomes a part and parcel of this. So then what exactly is a balanced meal? Coming back to that, so balanced meal is not removing any nutrient from your plate. You need everything, but the proportion in what you need is what you have, in which proportion you need, that is very important. So there is something called the 3:2:1 ratio. So whenever you are setting a plate, so make sure that 50% of the plate has your cereals or your whatever millets, or any of the carbs. So whether it is your rice, or whether you're a ragi eater, whether you're a roti eater, so 50% of the plate should have that. And then coming to the next, so 75, so you have there is the 3:2:1, so you have 50% of that. And then you have the second portion, that is the 3 out of the 3, then you have the 2. So that is, you have your lentils and protein. So any protein again should be almost about 20 to 25 or maybe 35% on the plate. So whether it's you're an egg eater, you're a chicken eater, you're eating dals, you're eating pulses, any of that should consist of at least 35%. And then the last 15% is for the miscellaneous, which most of us don't have on our plate. So that 15% is either your probiotic, like a buttermilk or a curd, or probably, a homemade pickle, or probably one vegetable sabzi, or probably even something like a papad, or maybe some tangy chutney, like a ginger garlic chutney. So this is the way. So 3:2:1 is how you set your plate. But I see a lot of people eating less carbs, more of protein. So they eat less of dal. I mean, they eat, less of roti or less of rice, but have more of dal, more of vegetable. So when you alter with this 3:2:1 ratio and you increase the proportion of something else, that creates an imbalance. And that is why most of the times diets fail. That is why people get bored of these diets. That is why they feel that they're not doing any progress. After a month or two, they get bored, because you're creating that, imbalance, which is not even giving you happiness psychologically. So you're not feeling good after eating that also, however tasty or however palatable the food is, because of the proportion imbalance that is there on your plate. So that is why it's very important that you don't really cut down on this proportion that I'm talking about, 3 is to 2 is to 1, 50 is to 35 is to 15, and you include everything, so that then you have satiety, and then you don't really crave for a sweet or a smoke or a tangy food or a tea post lunch. And then you also are psychologically happy that you have actually consumed everything in the right proportion. So that is where the balanced meal comes into picture. So balance is not just about weighing. It's not possible practically to weigh every day how much of food to eat. So this is the kind of a mind mapping that you have to do, and for you to understand what to eat and what proportion to be eaten. So you don't really need someone or one app or somebody to tell you how much to eat, one katori, one spoon or one thing, because every day a person is differently hungry. The appetite levels depend on the region that you stay, the kind of work that you do, the kind of emotion that you have. Like today you're stressed, today you're unhappy, today you're maybe excited. So all these things actually decide your appetite. So that is why stop nutritionism and all food groups are important. Moving on, how much to eat? So this is the next big question that I get. So they come up with portion sizes like, madam, please tell me how much to eat, like one bowl, half a bowl, 1 cup. So like I said, with continuation to my previous whatever I was saying, so you don't really need someone to tell you how much to eat. So your body has a very natural biological clock which actually tells you how much to eat and how much not to eat. So you yourself are the best judge. But what is happening these days is the biological clock itself is not right, because we're so used to gadgets, we are so used to like I asked you in the first slide, we don't know if we have hacked our mind or body, because we are so used to getting up with an alarm, we are so used to looking at a water reminder to drink water, we are so used to having a laxative to pass stools. So the natural mechanism is not working because we have made it so artificial and so technology dependent. So that is why the simplest thing I would say is small frequent meals. But again, the small frequent meals is a very subjective thing. So what is mind mapping? So that is where this whole mind mapping comes into picture, where you let your ghrelin and leptin, these are the satiety and the hunger hormones. So ghrelin is the hunger hormone, which is generally secreted when a person is hungry, and leptin is the satiety hormone, which tells you that yes, now you're full. So let your ghrelin and leptin decide how much you have to eat. So in that case, what you should do is something called mind mapping. So yesterday we just finished Eid. So this mind mapping concept is not something that has come today. So this was already there in the Arabic principle also. So yesterday, if you look at the Arabic literature, there is always something where when people break the fast, especially among the Muslim community, I'm sure you'll be able to appreciate it. They usually break their fast with a date. Okay, kajur. So whenever you break a fast, the Arabic principle tells you that eat the third date only when you can eat the fifth date. Similarly, eat the second date only when you can eat the fourth date. So that says that only, that is where that portion control comes in. So when you fast throughout the day and suddenly you're breaking the fast, so that is where this Arabic principle, or it's called the Jordan's law, comes into picture, which tells you that eat the second date only if you can think of the fourth date. So what we generally do is, you're hungry. Some people, we have the habit of overeating. Some of us have the habit of undereating. Some of us have the habit of binge eating. So we don't really have this control over our minds. Also, maybe because of the stress, like I said, because of the environment, because of the emotion, like that we have. So we don't really understand that picture of our own biological clock. So that is where mind mapping comes in. So what is mind mapping? So whenever you feel like eating something, not, or maybe even like when you're deciding to have your lunch or dinner, so have a number which is fixed in your mind. Like, that, okay, I know that I eat 2 rotis for dinner. So when I have that number fixed in my mind called 2, so on the plate, okay, serve 50% of that initially. So that means that I know that I'll eat 2 rotis, so but I will start with 1 roti on the plate, that is 50%. So sit in a very peaceful place. Please try to avoid having a gadget beside you or looking at a screen, and then enjoy that whatever you're eating, whether it's roti, whether it's some other thing like a chapati or anything, or a paratha. So enjoy that whatever you're eating, and then again when you feel like going for a second serving, so you again know that you want to maybe go for and eat one more roti, so then again start with 50%. So take a half a roti of that. So this is where you understand how much is required for you. So what we do, oh, I want 2 rotis, very first time, put 2 rotis on the plate. And then even if you're not feeling like eating the other roti, we don't want to waste the food, or maybe you feel that, okay, you have cooked, so you don't want to throw it or nobody else will eat it. So you end up eating forcefully. So start with serving 50% on the plate. And yes, if you feel like going for a second serving, again, take the 50% on the plate. So there you have an idea, you have actually, what you're eating. You're not simply, just serving everything like a buffet system. Ye bhi acha laga, so I picked up that, I picked up, one papad, I picked up a dessert, I picked up noodles. So everything is there. Then even if you don't want to eat everything, you still are forced to eat everything. Right. And then coming to the bigger thing, that how much protein to take in a day. So whenever I tell about health, followed by what to eat, and then how much to eat, and then this big question about protein. So protein is just sometimes overhyped, so you don't really have to take again lot of protein. But yes, having said that, whenever it is something where there is if the person is an athlete, if the person is into sports, or if that person is doing a very heavy physical activity, or if there is any catabolic condition like a cancer, or where there is muscle breakdown, or in a geriatric population where there is sarcopenia, where like the muscle is getting utilized, that is when there is an extra requirement of protein. So otherwise, for an Indian population, generally what I suggest is you take 1 gram of protein per kg body weight, that to your ideal body weight, right? So that is more than enough. You don't have to overdo anything. But yes, the recommendation changes, like I said, in a catabolic condition, in pregnancy, if the person is into athletics, or if any other physical activity or anything is there, then it is a different recommendation. But otherwise, if you're a normal person doing just sedentary lifestyle, then I think 1 gram of good quality protein per kg body ideal weight is good enough. You don't have to do this extra, I eat more dals, more pulses, less of carbs. No, you just have to follow the 3:2:1 proportion. So this is called biohacking. So when I asked you in the very first slide, have we hacked our mind or body? So this whole thing, this whole concept now, even tying a fitness band, or, having a water reminder, that's all called biohacking, right? So now we know about hacking a computer, hacking a bank account, but there's also something called the biohacking, right? So this biohacking not only works, for just fitness or losing weight, but it also you have nowadays, there are apps which are coming up and telling you how many kilocalories a person is eating and what is the portion size. So biohacking is leading to nutrition also, that is nothing but food. So you have biohacking with your thoughts also. So certain apps tell you what to do to stay positive, what to do not to when you're anxious and all that. So you have biohacking, that is your sleep and exercise, which I think all of us have a fitness band and we are trying to clock in that. So biohacking is also happening with our mind body coordination without the traditional medicine. So biohacking is kind of already there. So it's basically making you rely on a technology, which is again a very debatable thing, a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on how the person is taking. So ideally, any biohacking thing, whenever it's done in moderation, okay, that is good. So if I'm only dependent on an alarm to get up, if I'm only dependent on my fitness band or my fitness watch to tell me how many steps I have walked, or if I'm only dependent on an app to tell me how many kilocalories I have taken in a day, so it means you're hacked, right? So that means that you're again going towards nutritionism. You're again going to that path where tomorrow the app can tell you that, oh, you have taken more of carbs, so you will again cut down on carbs. So what I say is, it's not bad that you're using any of this, but don't get used to it, don't get addicted to it. So let your natural biological clock in the system also do some work. So don't get so used to the alarm that without the alarm you can't get up. Don't get so used to a tea that you just can't do without a tea, that you're getting a headache, right? So try not to get biohacked. And so, are you food hacked? So, since it's about nutritionism here and it's about food, so a lot of things that now people are, getting food hacked. So, like I said, the tea or, a simple app to tell you how much to eat. So, a lot of commonly asked questions. So, do you need a reminder to drink water? If people, how many of ever you are watching this? So, if you really need a reminder to drink water, if that's a tick, then yes, maybe your food hack, because your natural biological system or the biological clock is not telling you about the thirst levels and you're needing an external reminder. Okay, so that means that your mind body coordination is somewhere lagging. So, do you need smart watches to count the number of steps or the calories burnt? So, yes, keeping a tab on it, keeping a rough tab, is different. But if you are only dependent on, oh, have I done 10? I see people where they just walk simply to just complete the 15,000 steps, and they want that watch to say that, oh, you have completed today's quota of walking. So are you that dependent, and are you that reliable? I mean, are you really relying on that number is the question. Are you relying on an app like to count your portion sizes? So a lot of marketing is happening there. So because weight loss is a big industry, because that is where you have a lot of money. Everybody, like I said, wants to look good, lose weight, look younger, be healthy. So that is where you have all these marketing trends that are coming in. So there are a lot of marketing trends in every industry, I'm sure, whether it's in fashion, whether it's in Bollywood, whether it's in finance, everything. But it's for you to pick up what to follow and what not to follow. So even in nutrition or food, so you have a lot of trends that keep coming, like somebody will tell you how much to eat, how much not to eat, but it's about you to decide if you can really rely on that portion size. So today I might be, it's a Sunday, I'm very relaxed, I'm very cool, calm, having this session, so I'm not really very hungry. But tomorrow on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock, I might be really stressed. I might have a lot of people, a lot of patients to see, and a lot of work, and that time if somebody comes and still tells me to eat only one katori of rice or one roti, it's a question of practicality then, if that's really going to be enough for me, or if that's really okay, because I will still not be satisfied having that. Ultimately, when it comes to food, when it comes to eating, we all want that satisfaction. We all do things to get bare minimum. I think roti kapda makan. So I think even in that roti kapda makan, it's roti that comes first. So when you're not really happy eating that roti or that, that chawal or whatever, then everything else becomes pointless, right? So are you relying on an app to drink water, to count your portion sizes? Do you have to stick to only a fasting or a keto or a very fancy diet to lose weight? So if these are all yes for you in whoever are here, then it means that yes, you are food hacked. So that's just not hacking only in bank account or in anything, but yes, even in food, in terms of food, you are hacked. So what to do about it, and what exactly does your body want? So do you feel hungry automatically once in 2 to 3 hours? If that's a yes, then it means that your biological clock is functioning. Do you clear your bowel within few minutes of waking up without having, to take a laxative or any of the traditional treatment? Then yes, you're doing well. Do you stand at least once in an hour? Like, do you at least stand if you're having a continuous job where you have to sit? So do you stand up once in 60 minutes? Then yes. Do you get up without an alarm clock? So that's again the next thing. So that means that your mind body coordination, your clock is completely perfect. Are you energetic throughout the day without relying on any energy drink, without relying on any coffee or a tea? So that if that's a yes, then yes. Then are you compliant with your exercise routine? Like how many of you really give, value to that exercise, whether it's yoga, whether it's gym, whether it's walking? So are you really compliant to that? So if this is a yes for all these things, then yes, you're listening to yourself and your biological clock is intact. So this is what your body wants. You don't really need someone else externally to come and remind you. So external things work, yes, maybe to give you a push, but that external thing, when it becomes an addiction, that without that particular thing, I'm not able to do something, that is when you're hacked, and that is when you end up succumbing to the trends of the industry, and that is when you finally fall into the nutritionism path, where you end up having some or the other deficiency. So what do you do after telling so much? The answer is simple. Eat local, eat seasonal, and eat fresh. So you don't have to worry about eating a broccoli or eating something very sophisticated, which is coming from some other, country or some other state. Eat local, whatever, wherever you are. It's important that you stick to the local cuisine, local food, local vegetables, local greens. I'm sure, like, when I was in Manipal, so you have this fruit called kokum there. So, the kokum juice is really good during the summer. So wherever you are watching this from, so eat your local things, seasonal things. Any food that takes time to reach you always is devoid, or it is depleted of its nutrients. So that is something that we need to remember. So there's a saying called be a Roman in Rome. So whenever you go to the US, then don't forget to have a broccoli. But whenever you are in India, especially if you're in Bangalore, then don't, give up on the palak or amaranth or kale, right? So that's the first thing. And don't go by diets that have fancy names. So these names like Mediterranean, keto, paleo, intermittent, they're all names. So what do you have to really look at is the sustainability factor. So everybody, we all want, most of the times, we have like goals, or we want results in a short term. Like, somebody is getting married in 2 months, somebody is wanting to attend a wedding in 2-3 months, they want to go for a holiday maybe in a few weeks. So most of the times our goals are very, like, it's on a short term basis. So we don't have this concept of sustainability. That is why we go to somebody, get one diet, lose weight only for the time being, maybe 2 months, 3 months, and then we forget about it. So later again, whether we put on back that weight, or we again, are we really doing healthy, are we really feeling good? We don't, most of the times we don't really pay attention to that. So yes, look at sustainability. Having said that, doing an intermittent fasting or doing any fasting is not wrong, but anything that comes with a name is wrong. So how do you generally fast? So generally, that's the next question that I get. So fasting is not done based on some 18, 24 or random numbers. There are scientific ways to fast. Like you had the Lent season, which recently got over. So, you had during Lent, I'm sure people give up on one of the food groups. Mostly it's non-veg. So they give up on non-veg, or maybe one meal in a day, and then they eat the other 2 meals. So that is how Lent works. And then yesterday was, the Ramzan came to an end. So where before sunrise people would eat, and after sunset people would eat. So then again, there is a scientific way. So they're eating before sunrise and after sunset. And like I said, they break their fast with dates, or probably sago, or probably poha and things like that. And then when you come to the Hindu culture, you have this Ekadashi, and then you have this Dwadshi and all that, which happens once in 15 days, where one food group is given up. Like a person does not eat rice, or you don't eat probably a grain, but you're having fruits and other vegetables and toha and things like that. So this is a scientific way of fasting, where it is proven that you're giving up on one thing because you're giving rest to your digestive system. At the same time, you're not depriving yourself of food or water, but you're substituting it with something else. But when it comes to something like an intermittent fasting with numbers like 18, 12, 24, you don't really have the literature to tell you why exactly is it 18, why exactly is it 24, why exactly is it that 12 hours of fasting. So you really want to fast, you really want to give a break to your system, then stick to the religious way of fasting, whether it's Lent, whether it's Ramzan, whether it's Ekadashi, or whether it's something else. So you don't really have to stick to the weird concepts of fasting. So sitting is the new smoking. That's the third point. So for every 60 minutes of sitting, try to stand up for a minute and say no to 4 S's. So any diet that puts you on these 4 S's, okay, like salads, soups, smoothies, and starvation. So please say no to them, because if you're off these 4 S's, I think you'll be much more healthier. So do's and don'ts. So do's: eat everything, like I said, local, seasonal, homemade, fresh, and eat everything that you've been growing up eating. So a lot of them suddenly give up on rotis, right? If you're a North Indian, if you've grown up eating rotis, then don't give up on that. Maybe, yes, maybe because of the region where you stay, maybe the quality of the, wheat that you get may not be good, but you don't have to completely switch your diet off, right? Sleep and exercise. I think the two underrated things. So sleep 8 hours, especially in the window period of 10:30 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. If you're looking for a healthy skin and for good hair and weight loss and hormonal recovery, then 8 hours of sleep between 10:30 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. Exercise every day, at least 5 times a week is what is generally recommended. Chewing and in a cross-legged position. So chewing, I think the first line of digestion starts in the mouth. So most of us don't really chew. We are all in a hurry and we just, gulp food and go. So try to chew and try to sit in a cross-legged position at least for one meal in a day. That enhances your digestive ability. So for all those people, if you're having bloating, acidity, so try to sit on the floor until and unless you have a problem where you're advised by the doctor not to sit. Only then in that case, you can probably sit on a chair, but otherwise try to sit in a cross-legged position on the floor. Include spices. So these are the hidden warriors. So India is a land known for spices. So, but recently, only after COVID, we are getting to know about turmeric, cinnamon. I see turmeric lattes, I see cinnamon tablets, I see cinnamon supplements. So instead of that, any day a cinnamon tea or a turmeric doodh or a haldi ka doodh is much more better and tastier than having those lattes and tablets. So hydrating yourself again. So that goes without saying. So summers, there is a lot of dehydration, so hydrate yourself well, okay? And don't binge eating, meal replacers, supplements. Again, supplements is a very debatable thing. So like I said, if you're in any of the vulnerable categories, or if you're into sports, or if you're having a different goal, then yes, you do need supplements. But if it's a normal person trying to lose weight, trying to be healthy, try not to consume more of the things that comes in packets and anything that comes with hashtags, right? So hashtags, fancy names, these are all very misleading. So a few superfoods that one must include. So here, like I said about, I think I've spoken enough about turmeric. So your spices, these are all the digestive aids. So whether it's hing, whether it's jalpal, that's your nutmeg, cardamom, cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of desi ghee. So desi ghee is always good for anybody who's looking for a slimmer waist. Make sure you're having a homemade ghee, 1 teaspoon of that. That's because of the butyric acid that it contains. Curd, buttermilk, probiotics, natural probiotics, okay? And then rice is nice, so for a good gut. So if you're having any gut related issues, consume rice. So drumstick moringa for diabetics, so that's again very good. So beauty pill, this is called olive seed or garden cress seed. So for people whose skin is very dull, pale, you're having a lot of hair loss, you're having a lot of acne, so include olive, olive in the form of laddu, or olive in the form of, maybe 1 teaspoon of that in milk. Then banana. So this is a time where banana is one thing where you can utilize everything, the fruit, the leaf, everything. So banana, the raw banana, the plant banana stem, the banana plantain. So it's extremely good for fertility. It's good for your mood or immunity booster. So whenever you are stressed, if your boss has shouted at you, you feel like eating a chocolate or eating a pudding of some chocolate or a pastry, instead have a banana. That's much more better. So coconut, so this is one of the recent study which says that coconut is really good for your nervous system, especially for the myelin sheath. So coconut in cooking, I'm sure South cuisines, most of them have coconut in chutney, coconut, dry coconut and everything. But even otherwise, dry coconut, 2 to 3 pieces of dry coconut every day. It's very good it's good for your nerves and it's good for your skin, hair again. Sabudana, especially in the sabudana is your sago, tapioca. So for people who are having the postmenopausal symptoms or the perimenopausal symptoms or hot flushes, it's really good for that. And for people who are looking for weight loss, so sabudana khichdi, sabudana upma. So these are the few superfoods that one must get back. Forgotten heroes or the forgotten foods, or mostly these foods are thrown out, especially cashews. So most of the times people end up, they're okay to eat a chocolate as a cheat meal, but they don't have cashews in gajar ka halwa, right? So that's the kind of nutritionism, or again the marketing industry, or how the weight loss industry has promoted this kind of a thing. So having cashew in gajar ka halwa is not advisable, but having a pizza or a chocolate cake as a cheat meal is okay. So get back the cashews, get back the sweet potatoes, especially you have sweet potato raita, you have bale, kokum, that's a fruit, and lemon, neem, tulsi, all these things can come. Especially underground vegetables are really good for curbing your cravings. So have a banana or have a sweet potato based raita or have, aloo ka paratha, that then you don't really crave for that sweet or the tangy food or, a smoked post lunch. So these are some of the superfoods where, they actually do much more help than harming you. So this is just a rough thing for all of you who are watching this. So you can start your day with a set of dry fruits or probably a fresh fruit, then have a typical traditional breakfast. So whether it's idli, whether it's a paratha, whether it's dokla, and the mid meal, the mid morning is usually it's better, especially in summers, to have like a tandai or a vitamin C related thing like a nimbu pani or maybe a sharbat or just a dry fruit laddu. Then lunch, again, your staple lunch, whether in the balanced proportion where I spoke about 3:2:1. And evenings are the times where most of them crave for something, like I've been saying. So that's the slot where you need to control. So maybe you can have like a horse gram dal soup or fruit salad, dry coconut, puffed rice, makhana. These are the things. And try to have a very simple dinner or a sattvic dinner, where we say that try to avoid non-veg or oily foods or sweets for dinner, because that's the time where, you're already in the relaxed mode. So you tend to kind of laze around, and the metabolic rate is not very high. So try to have a simple and a quick early dinner. And if for people who have trouble in sleeping, who are doing night shifts, who are having a very bizarre, sleep pattern, they can always consume a glass of turmeric milk with nutmeg powder at least 20 minutes before sleeping. That will help, because of the protein called casein and the turmeric. So they are natural healers and they help in regulating the sleep cycle. So thank you for a very patient hearing. So you can reach out to me. That's my Instagram ID, that's my Facebook and my email ID as well. So I think I'm open to take questions if any. And thank you very much. It's been very nice.
Yes, thank you very much, Saranya. Thank you very much. It was an amazing, I must say, amazing webinar. And, you have covered almost everything, whatever is needed, and how these people, how we should not come into the trap of, the food industry and the nutrition industry. And there are, many people in YouTube as well right now. So I would ask them if they have any questions, or here also in the Zoom meeting, if they have any questions, please guys, if you have any kind of questions, please ask. Your questions are welcomed. Any questions? You can guys open your mic, or you can just write in the chat box. Anyone? Okay.
Hello, I have
Yes,
a
please.
question.
Yes.
So I'm Abhignya and I'm doing my family course. My question is, so during like a long fast, like during month of Ramadan and all, when you fast for really long hours, what is the physiology that's going on in the body? Because it's totally not what you do normally.
Yes. So whenever there is some fasting that happens in the body, so there is generally glycogen breakdown. So suddenly when you start fasting, right? So whether if I start fasting from tomorrow, so there is some glycogen is what is stored in your body, right? Like the glucose gets converted to glycogen and it's stored around the liver. So that glycogen breakdown starts happening because the body thinks that there is some stress that is, happening, because the body doesn't understand that, oh, there is, Ramadan or there is some festival or something. So the glycogen breakdown happens naturally, especially when you fast for long hours. And that is why whenever you're doing Ramadan, you see that there is scientifically, it's proven that they eat before sunrise and they eat after sunset. So they suddenly don't induce a long hours of fasting. So in such a case, the glycogen breakdown is not really that high. Okay. But when you're doing a very very fasting, like where you're doing something like intermittent fasting, for example, like 18 hours of fasting, in that case physiology is where the glycogen breakdown happens. And then the thinking that the body assumes that there is some stress that has happened in the body, for some reason you're not getting food, and that is why, because of the glycogen breakdown, there is a lot of production of ketone bodies and ketoacidosis happens. And that is why a person tends to lose weight. But once you do this for continuously that is why Ramadan is done only for 1 month, right? So but the person does this for continuously for 2-3 months, like a keto diet or a fasting diet. The first few months, yes, you see the weight loss, you see that the person is losing weight, but after that your body thinks that this is how, it is that it thinks that this is the normalcy, and whatever food that you eat starts again getting converted into excess of fat. So that is the physiology that happens when you fast during long hours. But long hours of fasting is very different from a fasting which is done with a scientific reasoning like your Ramadan or Lent or Ekadashi. So what happens when you scientifically fast? So now this is long hours of fasting. Now when I'm doing Ramzan, when I'm eating before sunrise, okay, so there is already food in the body, there is the food that is broken down into glucose. So throughout the day it takes about 3 to 4 hours to digest, so that glucose is getting converted into glycogen and stored. And then you have a gap of maybe 5 to 6 hours or 7 hours where you're not eating anything. Then again when you eat after sunset, that is technically about around 5:30, 5:45, again that process of the body is getting food, so there is normalcy in the body. In between, when you don't give food for 5 to 6 hours, there is no problem. But when you do this without any scientific, basis of fasting for like 18 hours, 20 hours, that is when the body thinks that there is some stress and there is this glycogenolysis, that is glycogen breakdown happening, assuming that there is some stressful condition, which results in weight loss, yes, for a couple of months, and later the body gets used to it. So this is the physiology that happens.
So during this time, there is no weight increase or loss.
During which time you're talking
Like,
about, the scientific way of fasting or the
the
20 hours?
scientific.
So
The
during
science.
the scientific way of fasting, it's very rare to see a weight loss or a weight gain. Weight loss can happen maybe if the person, like somebody who is doing Ramzan or Ramadan, is working, he's also going to the office. Maybe you will see a weight change of 1 or 2 kg, but you will not see a drastic weight loss of 5-6 kgs. But definitely they will not put on weight also, because they are following that before sunrise or after sunset pattern. So you will not see a weight gain, huge amount of weight gain, but you will not see a huge amount of weight loss. You'll only see a water loss of probably 1 to 2 kg, so maybe in some grams.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions for you.
Okay, I'll just see that.
Yeah, a lot of from the YouTube as well. I'm just keeping them.
Okay, so the first one was Sabudana. Is it, what was that? I cannot see that.
Sabudana, is it work in weight loss?
Yeah, Sabudana works in weight loss. So it works wonderfully in weight loss, because especially when you make some Sabudana khichdi or Sabudana upma, basically they're simple carbs. So it's really good for weight loss. So any Sabudana based preparation is good for weight loss. And then opinion on disease-based diet, example for PCOD.
That we are coming up in our upcoming webinars.
Yes.
We are coming up with disease-based diet only.
Yeah, so that again requires in-person consultation also, and there are a lot of things. I mean, the physiology again there is very different. Yes, so yes, for a person with sleep irregularities or in a weight loss journey, they recommend magnesium glycinate. How important or useful is it? Yeah, so whenever you're talking about any magnesium or anything like this, right, sodium, potassium, it's always very important you get a blood test done, right? So simply over the counter, people take vitamin D also, they take B12 also, they take anything that comes. So in that case, for any, magnesium is important, yes, when it comes to your heart health, when it comes to your bone health, when it comes to all these. But any day a blood test is required, and only in the blood test, if you know that, yeah, you are deficient or you're having low levels, this has to be coordinated with other parameters also. You also need to check your calcium, your iron levels. Only after that you can take it. So they, in this thing, that is your trainers or other, there are a lot of quacks in the industry. So in order to increase your metabolism or in order to make you lose weight faster, maybe these are all the trends that are there. So you please have to first get a blood test done. Only after that, what dose can be taken, is it safe, all that will come later. So first thing is a blood test. diets for different diseases. I think we are going to come up with that very soon. Flexible dieting. So there is nothing like flexible dieting. So the whole idea of this talk was to tell about sustainability and about not falling into nutritionism. So always look at sustainability. Sustainability is something which you can do for the rest of your life, where you don't need one app or one person to tell you what to do. So sustainable eating is the answer. So remove the concept of dieting, diet, everything. So diet is basically like die with a T. So that will never help you, right? So it always think on terms of sustainability. So what is my opinion on LCHF diet? So what is this? Low carb, high fat, you mean?
Yes,
So low
actually.
carb, high fat. So again, low carb, high fat is again a type of a fad. So low carb, any low carb, like I explained about the plate ratio of 3:2:1. It's also very important for us to understand. I think Dr. Ajit, you will be able to appreciate this better, that the brain or the central nervous system picks up nutrients that comes only from the breakfast. So
Absolutely.
that's very, very important. That's why even from the times of our grandmothers, grandfathers, we have this concept of don't miss your breakfast, have your breakfast. Nashta is very important. So whenever you're doing this low carb, your attention span, your cognitive ability, your all of that, will go down. Your brain actually kind of, gets a little weak. That's why you have brain fogging. You kind of have irritability, mood swings. So when you're talking about low carb, I'm not asking you to cut down of the carbs, that is the complex carbs like your ragi, your jawar, your rice, your roti. So whenever I'm talking about low carb, it's important for us to eliminate the refined carbs. Refined carbs are in terms of biscuits, in terms of packaged foods, in terms of Maggi, in terms of cornflakes, in terms of chocos. So when these refined carbs go down off or go off the diet, automatically health is better. And again,
Yes.
when you're talking about high fat, so normal fat, so you need ADEK vitamins are naturally fat soluble in nature. So you cannot have ADEK getting absorbed in a water soluble medium, right? So that is why
Yes.
we say you need good fats, like you need good oils, you need nuts, you need seeds. So when
Yeah.
you're talking about high fat, again, if it's for a normal person, if it's for a normal sedentary person living in a city, like a metropolitan city, living a metropolitan life, this can again create the same stress like I was talking about. Initially, yes, it will cause some weight loss. Like I explained about the physiology, there'll be glycogen breakdown. But after a point, your body gets used to it. And that is when it leads to high cholesterol or fatty liver and all of that. So anything low, high, you don't need that low, high concept at all. It's all about moderation, like the 3:2:1. And yes, only in some cases, like, in children with epilepsy and all that, that is where you really use the low carb, high fat diet. But that's a totally different scenario that cannot be mixed with this at all.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the options for a normal workout or daily exercise? So again, workout, depending on the intensity of the workout that you do, if you're going for a simple 20 minutes walk, it's a different thing. If you're
Yeah.
going and doing strength training, it's a different thing. So there is a pre-workout and a post-workout thing that comes into picture. So I think that also will be covering very soon. So that's a different topic
Yes.
altogether. So is there any type of food which helps to reduce body weight? So yes, there are foods that help in reducing body weight. So, but provided in what proportion you're taking, what combination. So again, everything comes back to your meal plating system. 3:2:1, 50:35:15.
Yes.
So the right combination of the amino acids when you eat, that is the right cereal pulse combination is what matters. Okay. Is there any specific diet for yes, so all the specific diets I think will be coming up with
Yes,
the
we will be
these
covering very
related
soon.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think that is better. Can scientific fasting promote growth hormone? Yes, it does. Scientific fasting, especially like whatever I was talking about, Ekadashi or XYZ things like Lent, all these things are very good for decreasing the insulin resistant, promotes growth hormone, makes you lose weight, gives your digestive system rest. So it increases your BMR, which is called the basal metabolic rate. Okay, we no longer look at BMI, so it's more of BMR now. 2 meal is good or 3 meal. Okay, so 2 meal, 3 meal concept. So more than looking at it as 2 meals, 3 meals. So again, look at it from a very appetite point of view. So do you feel hungry? If you're very hungry and if you're still sticking to 2 meals, then you're again going back to the same thing of depriving yourself and not eating. So, and you will not be able to do this for long. If you're not hungry and if you're simply trying to eat 3 meals, then again it makes no sense. So everything again depends on your biological clock, your appetite, where are you staying, what are your stress levels, what are your exercise levels, the gender, the all of these. So if you're in a place like Himachal, a 2 meal concept will not work for you, because the place, the geography itself makes you eat much more, lot. If you're in a place like Bangalore, you don't sweat and you don't really, you're not in that high altitude area, then even 1 meal probably is good enough. So all these factors will decide. And whether curd is good at night or not. So generally curd is not recommended at night. It's generally because of the amino acid that it contains. So if you are a very big fan of curd, you can have buttermilk in the night and not curd for night. Okay. So can almonds burn fat? Yes, almond can burn fat. So that's because these almonds are, again, they consist of a lot of, vitamins like and minerals like magnesium, vitamin E and all that. So, but yes, the timing when you take almond is very important. So usually it's always better to have soaked almonds, overnight soaked almonds, the first thing in the morning, because they are antioxidants in nature. So they do burn fat. Can fasting boost growth hormone? Yes, I think I answered that.
Yes,
And
you have answered. Yes, you have
yes,
answered.
I think that is all. I don't think I can see anything more.
Yeah, I think that's all. No more questions, I think. Do you guys have any other questions? Someone was talking? Okay, don't worry about certificates. We'll get your certificates by evening, guys.
Yeah.
That's the major question, at the end of webinar, any
Yeah.
webinar.
Yeah, I mean, it's they really need it. I mean, on a Sunday, I mean, giving this time. So
Yeah.
I think yes. So
Okay, so yes, so guys, thank you very much for joining, and I would like to, thank Mr. Anya for delivering this wonderful session. And you won't believe there are around 50 people who are continuously watching you on YouTube right now, and they will be watching, thousands of the people will be watching later. So thank you, and we'll plan very soon disease-based webinars. So we will start with, I think, PCOD. That's the
yeah, I
majority of
think
the questions. Majority of the people ask that, and it's very important to cover even. So guys, don't worry. We will be coming with multiple webinars, and my team will be coming up with the survey. If you just want like webinars, or if you want the entire course of nutrition, including all the common diseases, okay, that we will very soon will give a survey, and you have to tell your suggestions, and then we can definitely start. Okay, and we are very good to go. So thank you very much, guys, here, and whoever has joined our live streaming. So thanks again. Thank you, Saranya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was really nice, and very nice initiative taken by you and your team. And thank you for all the people who have really been patient. And
Thank
it
you.
was a very interactive session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya. Yes. Bye bye. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Happy Sunday.